A united and indivisible nation enjoying peace and security, a true, strong, fair democracy, a decentralized administration at the service of development. These are some of the key points enumerated in the plan of Vision 2035 as announced by Cameroon's President Paul Biya 10 years ago when he said Cameroon in 2035 will become an emerging nation, a nation that will be so prosperous in its economy with strong infrastructures, a nation whose economy will be based on sub-regional and global integration, a nation that will have access, will guarantee access to basic quality and services to all, regardless of their age, gender, region, ethnicity, a nation that will also enjoy low unemployment and underemployment, a nation that will have fair distribution of resources at the various local level, regional level, and national level, a nation that will also enjoy stability, a nation whose education will sprout and will be unbeatable, a nation that will move to a middle-income country in 2035, that is a middle-income economy. Those were some of the things inscripted under Vision 2035. We are 10 years on regarding the aspect of decentralization at the different level, true fair democracy, peace and security. We are 10 years on. Which level are we? Are we still on track as far as Vision 2035 is concerned? This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. Hello and welcome to House of Commons. We need Tah Mai Jarvis, where we're broadcasting live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital, Fengudrom Bange in Koto, of course, neighborhood within the Bonamoussadi area. And we are looking at 10 years after Vision 2035 was announced by Cameroon's president. Are we still on track, or do we need to revisit that vision? We are 10 years on, and soon we'll be counting Vision, we'll be counting 2035. Are we still on track? Joining us to discuss on this issue, we have Professor Innocent. Professor Innocent, you are welcome and happy Sunday.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis, and thank you for inviting me to this program. I think that 10 years after this program is enough for developmentalists to think of an impact evaluation. And I think this interesting topic is going to help the government to see how far they have gone so that they may be able to dot their I's and cross their T's.
Thank you very much, Professor Innocent. And of course, here also we have Mr. Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a civil society advocate. Mr. Emmanuel, you're welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tah Mai Jarvis. I reaffirm my commitment to the program House of Commons, and I'm taking this commitment because I've committed myself to serve the common man. And that is why I choose to answer present on your platform today. A special Sunday to all those who are watching us from the meandering hills of Boyo Division, especially the people from Bapmen. You know, House of Commons has given a voice to the common man, and in this regard, everybody is represented. So, to all the million viewers out there, you are not disappointed. We are still at your service, and through House of Commons, I mean, the Sunday will be a bright one for you.
Co-founder of and the Secretary General of NEA.
Yes, No Era Youth for Africa.
Thank you. Hope we'll have one day have time to zoom in
very soon,
into NEA, which is fast gaining ground across West Central Africa, and also seeking to ameliorate youth condition and give them knowledge about their continent and how to develop their continent and to be impactful.
Thank you very much. In the days ahead, we'll be doing just that, because I think the first impact will be felt as from September. Across Africa, it's not a Cameroonian phenomenon, so we are calling on everybody to put a path on our back so that we can push this agenda to see a new Africa, to give Africa a new facelift.
Song Derick is also here with us. Song Derick, you're welcome and thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Tah Mai Jarvis. It's always a pleasure to share the platform with bright minds. And of course, to the management of My Media Prime, thank you for giving us the voice. To the million viewers of House of Common, we have decided to stand for truth. We have decided to speak the truth, and we will speak it all the time without blinking. It's a pleasure to share the platform today.
You are also an economist.
Of course, we grow in different dimensions. Economics is just part of the field, and that's where Cameroon needs to start growing, by looking for people who understand the functioning of the economy, how to plan it, rather than doing the promising and fail agenda.
Thank you very much. Also, we have Ben Ali, who is a logistician. Ben, thanks for joining us for the very first time on House of Commons.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis. I am very eager to be part of this program today. And it is a special topic that is thinking of how to, it has been a special topic that we think how to afford it, and we have to talk about it. All of us are really focused on it, since it is a doubt. We are doubting, even though we think that it might be possible for the next 13 years. Yeah.
You are doubting, but the head of state is not doubting, and of course, and his cabinet, they are not doubting. They will tell you that a lot has been done to meet up with this vision. I'll begin with you, Professor Innocent. Professor, I want us to look at 10 years ago, the head of state announced this vision. I know last edition we looked at it from the educational perspective, and this time around we are looking at it from the economic perspective, the social, and of course the political perspective. First of all, I want us to look at one of the vision: a united and indivisible nation enjoying peace and security. 10 years on, we didn't have the Anglophone crisis. 10 years on, we had just the Boko Haram insurgency. We didn't have tension like the Tontina, the Sardina, the Northeast, the movement Northeast, the rest, all these name calling left and right. But since 10 years after, we now have a lot of this. Are we enjoying the peace and stability?
Well, Mr. Jarvis, let me first of all tell you that what I'm saying here, and those who are listening to me, what I'm simply saying here, I'm just simply expressing my opinion on what I am saying. It is not like I'm trying to criticize anybody. I'm not trying to favor anybody. I'm simply expressing an opinion so that perhaps those listening may make out something from it.
And of course, you're not representing a political party.
Exactly. So, well, we talk about peace, we talk about unity, we talk about everything in this country. But we look at it 10 years afterwards. You may be forced to conclude that those who came up with this program didn't actually take into consideration the possible constraints, the unforeseeable constraints that they may encounter. Because if you look at the situation now in the Northwest Southwest region, for example, it is war generated, war created to stop development in that part of the country. One may justify the Boko Haram war, but to me, I find it difficult. Let me say, for me, I find it difficult to justify the war that existing in the Anglophone regions, because that was just a very small a situation that would have been addressed. It wouldn't have even happened. If we had people that had a good vision for this country, people who had thought that this country could emerge in 2035. So today we don't have any peace. We don't have any security in that particular part of the country. And because we don't have peace in that particular part of the country, we don't have peace in the entire nation as well. You sleep, one eye is opened. And so it is very, very difficult to conclude. I will come back to you later on, Mr. Jarvis.
Thank you very much. When you say war that would have been avoided, how would this war would have been avoided?
Just through peaceful negotiations. Let me tell you, because at that time I was still in Bamenda. The first time we decided from Manfe, Bamenda, and then we had those crises. People were called for negotiations. People that I'm very close to, because I'm also a teacher, they will tell you exactly what those that were invited to solve the problem were doing. Instead of solving the problem, you want to come with bags of monies. And that was not solving the problem. It was look at the institution of the teachers, the lawyers. What is the problem? How can we solve the problem? What did they want? How can we solve this problem? And then when they kept resisting, instead of trying to pressure on, to convince them to talk like brothers and sisters, we saw how in Manfe, military ministers started shooting down people. And that was then. And then we saw, because perhaps the government was short-sighted, they thought that the people themselves were too doomed.
But the government says that now, okay, we have solved the teachers' problem, we've solved the lawyers' problem, peace should return, because it was
have they actually solved the problem?
No, the government says they have redeployed teachers to their region of origin. They have also ensured that they have recruited 1,000 bilingual science teachers, which to me, I don't know who are bilingual science teachers. And the government says also they have ensured that, Minister Nalova Lunga, an Anglophone, is heading the ministry that we've hardly had Anglophones, and the lawyers are back in court, and the teachers are back in the classroom.
They are back in court. Well, the ministers, let me tell you, if we have a problem in a particular area, so for example here, which is a general problem, and then you appoint me, that's a personal gift. We are talking about community development.
Okay.
That is part of what this vision is talking about. We are talking about something that is going to benefit the entire community. And that's what we stress when we come to welfare economics. When you decide, when people are fighting, then you come and you take one person, and then you even give that person an appointment. It doesn't help the problem, because those people were not fighting because they wanted an appointment. People were fighting because they needed some basic amenities.
Okay.
We don't have good access to our farmlands. We don't have good roads. We don't have good hospitals. We don't have everything we don't have in this country. Okay. And people were simply crying for those kind of things to be provided to them, not ministerial positions.
Thank you.
And let me tell you, you can appoint all the Anglophones, but that problem will not be solved.
Dear Emmanuel, a united and indivisible nation enjoying peace and security 10 years down the drain. Are we still on track on Vision 2035.1?
Well, I don't understand what you say a united, because...
What the vision says or what I see.
Okay. It means I got you wrong. If that's what the vision says, let the vision bearer take his pen and rewrite the statement, because we cannot be living in perpetual disunity, and you are telling us that we're in unity. That's an aside. Now, what are the indicators that leads a country or an economy to emergence? That's where we should start from. You see, we live in a country where slogans are celebrated with little or no practical work done in the field. Emergence is not to be decreed. It is not talked. It is worked for. And when it is worked for, it is achieved. Now, when we look at the indication or the indicators that can take an economy or a nation to emergence, let's start from the institutions of that country. No economy in the world shall get to emergence with colonial institutions. I weigh my words and I put them on the balance. I repeat, no country in the world shall get to emergence with colonial institutions like ENAM, École Normale Supérieure, and set CUS, where we are trained with half technology brought from somewhere as part of the curriculum studies of a different country, that you are supposed to answer yes to that country. That's one. No country or economy can be taken to emergence, Tah Mai Jarvis, with a kind of per capita income that we have in Cameroon. You and I know that there are people in Cameroon who barely feed twice a day. There are some who can go for 2 days and will succeed to feed only twice for the 2 days. That's 2. Point 3. How do we emerge? To emerge, we need to be moving. To move, we need roots. Now, how do you tell me that in 2022, Bafoussam Banyo takes 2 days? You know how many kilometers it covers? How do you tell me that in 2022, Babaju Bamenda takes you a full day, which is a distance that could take you at most 28 minutes if the road was tarred? That is a factor, because emergence of any nation goes with infrastructural development. How do you tell me that 10 years down the line, if it were not just the celebration of slogans by a few privileged ones who have been given the opportunity to embezzle, to steal, to emerge themselves and leave the country behind? Because what we are suffering from today is emergency. That is the country's emergence versus individual emergence in the same country.
So we have 2 emergence.
Yes, we have 2 emergence, and I will come back to that. Now, what explains the fact that a country is struggling to emerge? When you go to the hospitals, the doctor-patient ratio in Cameroon is alarming, to the level that, breaking yesterday, I read news from out of the country where the World Health Organization classifies Cameroon as second worst in terms of health facilities in the world.
No, you can. Maybe
I am not the one who wrote it.
Yeah, maybe that was correct, because you cannot compare Cameroon with other nations like.
And I roll on. And I roll on.
No,
I roll on.
It's perfectly correct.
I roll on. I'm not the one who wrote that article.
Even below
Yes, and I roll on. In a country that is struggling to emerge, teacher-learner ratio is a call for an alarm. Even the infrastructures where these learners have to sit inside and learn are under trees, and that is modernity in my own motherland. You discover that in the country that is struggling to emerge, policy makers do not take into cognizance the brains of teachers who are the builders of every nation. They have been sidelined. They will tell you that the war in Northwest have stopped routes in Mundembandian route. It has stopped the work in Babaju route. And I will ask them, which war stopped the construction of the ring route that Mr. Biya was supposed to personally supervise? And today they will tell us that the war in Ukraine has affected the global economy. And I will ask them, before the war in Ukraine, were you not importing toothpick from Italy?
Okay.
Were you not importing chairs
We'll
to
be
use
coming
in
back to
our
you,
offices in Cameroon?
June.
No, the topic is very sensitive.
I know, we'll be coming back to you now. Let's get to some Derick. I'm not saying it's not sensitive.
No, it's okay.
I
understand.
I can be very convenient that we take part 1 today and part 2 next week Sunday.
For sure.
I have no problem with
This
it,
will be
because
very available.
it's a long road to 2035, and points must be given meticulously. Son Derick, so you raised the issue, the whom I will coming back to on dual emergence, and so Son Derick, united and indivisible nation, enjoying peace and security. That's the first point of Vision 2035. 10 years down the drain. Ali said we are close to 13 or 15 years to 2035.
Yeah. 13.
Of course, we are very, very close. You know, the one I know personally about the dream of Vision 2035 is that it was a good dream. I should be honest to state that it was a good dream. But it's unfortunate that the dreamer never got up from bed. He had a good dream but refused to get up to reality. When we talk about policy implementation, it is not writing down policies. It is implementing policies that work. And if Mr. Biya, in his usual slogan nature, has moved from perhaps rigor, moralization, New Deal, great ambition, and everything. And
Great
today,
realization.
realization and everything. All the slogans are changing and we are seeing nothing. Mr. Jarvis, I want to tell you that Cameroon can take a very short time to emerge if we have the right people on seat. The problem with Cameroon is that it is moved by people who themselves cannot move.
When you say right people on seat, what do you mean? Because we have ministers that have been firm and saying that Cameroon has advanced democracy that will soon be exported into other countries. We've had ministers that will tell you that the peace and stability of this nation is so nice that other nations admire.
And what is the meaning of advanced democracy?
I don't know.
When we talk about peace, please, peace, that Cameroonians have not been talking for 40 years does not mean they have been enjoying peace. Peace is not the absence of guns. If you define peace by the absence of guns, then we had, because now there is none. Let me continue from where I landed, Jarvis. That Cameroon has the available natural resources and mineral resources. We have crude oil, we have hydroelectric power, we have aluminium, we have timber, we have cobalt, we have nickel, we have gold in several parts of the country. That if we want to emerge, it will be something of Cameroon talking to Cameroon. But 10 years down the drain and 40 years counting, we are still to address the per capita income level of Cameroonian. We are still to address the unequal distribution of income for Cameroonian. We are still to address the Cameroon was kept secret of corruption and embezzlement. The president, in his usual traditional speech, said that those who have embezzled will be brought to book. How many months gone? We are yet to see. I'm sure that those people will be brought to book in the next 10 years or more. Jarvis, when we are talking about the emergence, it should have long-term plans and short-term goals. Well, what do I mean? If Cameroon was planning to emerge by 2035, we should have put it in record that by 2010 to 2015, we are going to target the industrial sector of the country to boost it. We will say that from 2015 to 2020, we're going to target perhaps the road networks. From 2020 to 2025, we are going to be targeting the income and everything. But where is the roadmap? And even if there is a roadmap, who is following that roadmap? Because where we stand today, we are more divided than we were 10 years ago. We are now having the tontinars, the anti-sardinars. We are having the
Come no goes.
The come no goes, as some people will call in. We are having the southern Cameroons.
We are having dogs.
We are having the Bambilikes, the faction. We are having the D million Nordis. An ambitious or a to-be president of the country, someone who aspired, said in the Constitutional Council, and I quote, "If to be the president of this country warrants that we write a concours to become a particular tribe person, then he is ready to write." Is that unity or division? It shows that the country is so much divided. And like I said, the reason is that the wrong people have been given the position to do everything. President Biya has a good vision, but he cannot run that vision, because when we grow old, we become too babyish.
But son Derick, they say that what an old man can sit and see, even you, a young man, you climb on top of the tallest building, you cannot see now. Or are you saying that that statement is wrong?
No, we are all seeing it.
Are we not seeing that? Are we not seeing that the old men are seeing nothing?
Okay.
That we cannot see.
Briefly, Prof, so that we can come to
actually there were four
Ali.
medium-term objectives, and I think that is what we are trying to deliberate on in the moment. Yes, talk about reducing poverty, talk about medium income country, industrialization, and then again consolidation of democracy,
Prof,
and enhancing national unity.
I've not refused that. I'm asking that in the roadmap.
Yes.
So far, so good. 2010 to 2015.
Exactly.
What is the
has been
balance
done,
sheet?
so you're perfectly correct.
Yes. What is the balance sheet? That's my
thank you.
point of view.
Ali, again, I want to get your view on this. I'm still on point one. United, indivisible nation, enjoying peace and security. 10 years down the drain, we didn't have the movement 11 million, we didn't have the Sadina, Tontina, we didn't have the Betty, the Bulu, we didn't have the Graphi, we didn't have all these. Instead, now we are having much of these. Are we still on track? Is this an indicator that we are not on track, or are we still on track?
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis, for giving me the floor. You know, the first point concerning about the Vision 2035 is that since the head of state came out to just declare the development of this particular country, Cameroon, in which we are today, we are already 13 years remaining. We have already consumed almost up to more than 12 to 13 years, almost. But at this level, we are doubting. I cannot say that what the head of state declared, it is a bogus information. But we are just trying to think about what can Cameroonians do, because at this level, the head of state and the minister that is around him, they are already old. Even if they can do the work, they need the help of the future generation, the young men that can assist them to do that. But they are still close to their different position. We can even put on point concerning about some ministers even don't have even first degree or advanced level, but they are still ruling the country since 1982 till date. We are still suffering the consequences. They are selective on different tribes that are admitted to different concours. You are talking about concerning the unity. I've not seen any unity here in the county where we are facing different crises that is affecting this country. First of all, our brothers and sisters from Northwest and Southwest that are suffering day and night. We cannot even only talk about them, but the family, the military family that's been sent there, because a military man even is a human being like me, and he has been sent on field.
Casualties is both ways.
That is it, and there's what they call killing. They almost up to over 60,000 people died since 2014, 16 up to today. People are still dying. We cannot get the exact number of people that are dying there. They are kidnapping people. I am crying of this beautiful town image of Southwest and Northwest that if you go in those days, 2002, you just see how people were living good. It was the town of friendship, you know. Everybody is welcome there. Everything is well organized. And if you just see about the different crises that is knocking the country, like the Musgum and the...
Yes, the Musgum in Dongaman, Far North region, and also even in the Dongaman too, we have the same issue. Even in Womb, we have the same issue between the Fulanis and
yes. You know, concerning this issue, all of us, we are deeply touched about it, and especially we just come back to the development. How can we develop without peace? How can we develop without having a mind being set quiet? You can sleep well, organize yourself well before thinking about development. If you just hear about some different news day and night, people are dying. If you just talk about roots, we don't have roots here in the country. We just have 17% of third root in the country. We are suffering this issue. If you just talk about the roots that is being already tarred, okay? We are just having potholes from those roots that are already tarred. I don't know which materials they are using to tar those roots.
We are emerging too now.
We are emerging. If you just go to neighboring countries like Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, you just hear about and see highways. And you come back to Cameroon, they will just tell you about highway, Douala Yaoundé highway, and you think that when you just enter into an agency, you are traveling, or you take your car, you are traveling, you are going to these narrow routes that create accident from left to right, and you just pay toll gates. What is the use of this money that is being collected by toll gates?
Okay.
What can the gendarmes are sitting there to do as control where we don't have routes?
Okay.
The non-respect of route signs being sanctioned by the gendarmes and the other policemen. But how can I say we don't have route? How can you just impose all those things?
Okay.
We really need routes. We just talk about the agricultural sector concerning in Cameroon here. We thank to different young Cameroonians like Roland, who is the
greenhouse.
Yes, the greenhouse ventures. Yeah. This young Cameroonian is performing well. I really appreciate this young Cameroonian because he has already performed. He make the dream real as a reality. You know, he just said that all Cameroonians are just going back to agriculture when they are already retired, they are old. How when you are tired, you are old, you go back to agriculture. What is the use of this agriculture for the economy? Why you can produce a little amount of this fruit that is being produced.
Okay, we'll be coming back to you, Ali. We'll be coming back to you. Good afternoon, panelists of House of Commons. Appreciation for the good job. How can Cameroon achieve Vision 2035 when most government institutions have become, in quotes, enterprise? I will not mention the word because it's so harsh. Mr. Jarvis, who really introduced stealing in this nation, is coming from Valley in Limbe. Thank you very much, Valley. This one with good morning to you all in the house. We only hear emergence 2035, but laid down a package with guidelines. Had the proponent of this vision put in place for it to come to fruition. Is it not clear that this is another political sophistry from the BIist and the CBDMist? As far as I am concerned, this whole talk is merely an inspiration and not a vision. A vision must be nurtured and made to be achievable. This is just a mirage in the desert. This is coming from Mwalimu Bisong in Douala. And also this one with good afternoon. I think I like the analysis of all your panelists in the house. I want to salute Prof for his brilliant analysis last Sunday. I want to also salute Mr. Derick, Mr. Emmanuel, and Ali, who is coming on board. Happy Sunday. Thank you very much. Happy Sunday to you. Great topic. I think that Vision 2035 can only be achieved when we have newly elected officials. Until then, we are emerging in bad roads like the Douala Road. That is good emergence. You see the number of potholes are emerging in Douala. It's a proof that by 2035, we shall truly emerge like in the Babaju Road. We have totally emerged from that area. Thank you very much. This is coming from an anonymous sender. When you send us a message, let us know who you are and where you're texting us from. Prof, Vision 2035, the second point, a true, strong, fair democracy. Which level are we?
Well, I think we're still at the first point, because that's just one of the medium-term objectives. Because I said the first one, this one is called strengthen national unity.
Yes.
And yes, because let me just, because I had some few points, some variables, some indicators, which I have, for example, to what extent have we been able to enhance decentralization and local development?
Yes.
If you look at this one too as well, you look at this variable, you see who is supposed to implement this? Who is to make sure that this works? Now, if you take the case of the Minister for Territorial Administration, for example, if he is the one that is supposed to carry out this particular point, then we can say that perhaps this could be about 20% done. We don't know exactly what may happen. Maybe the next 20 years, for example, he could complete it if the environment may likely change. If you look at contribution to strengthen national solidarity, This one too, I cannot, is it actually an activity that's supposed to be done by all the Cameroonians? Is it a sector or ministerial sector is supposed to implement this one here? Are we actually living this kind of solidarity in Cameroon? Are we living that constitution whereby you see your brother of the Francophone section and then you call your brother? Are we in that kind of a Cameroon whereby you find him and then he's happy to live with yourself? Because let me tell you, from what I get from my from the students that I teach, who are also in the other universities, the situation is catastrophic. We do not have anything like solidarity in this country. And the ministerial department that is supposed to be in charge of this has to sit up. Because if at the end of the year, if at all, the president of this country was carry out an evaluation of all the ministers, and then keeping a particular limit to either retain the minister or maybe sack the minister, this country would have been moving ahead better, in a better direction. Think of contribution to ensure what they call community participation. Community participation. When we talk about community participation, participation in doing what? Just think of the roads, the road networks, for example. A few weeks back, around Carrefour Museum in Bonabiri, the military came to intervene because the council authorities came to stop an individual that wanted to arrange the road network because there was total traffic congestion in that particular area.
And which is disturbing a lot.
Yes, they came there, the council officers came there to obstruct this guy, and at times they want to pay a fine for even trying to repair your own road network. You are a Cameroonian. The military men move in and they send away all the council officers. It is not only there, even the quarters, it does happen. If you try, maybe you don't even know it here. If you try to repair a road in the quarter, then you are into serious problem with the council authorities. You do not have the right to do that. So there's nothing like community participation in that particular direction. Maybe the council, the ministers in charge of council development and all the like, and also social infrastructure, they're supposed to take note of that one too as well. Think of contribution to ensuring social freedoms. Think of a contribution in the promotion of the rule of law and credibility of justice system in Cameroon too as well. We look at it, you will find out that this is not working at all. Is it justice when you allow our brothers and sisters moving to Nigeria in their thousands and they're suffering for the past 5-7 years? Is it justice when you allow your brothers and sisters to leave or other communities to go and they start suffering in other regions? Is it justice when you go and then you burn down people's houses, you destroy their properties in the name of maintaining peace? Who is supposed to be in charge of this?
Yeah, because the vision talked about justice.
Yes, those are the variables that fall under this particular thing. If you were supposed to carry a research in the field, for example, this is what you could have put in front of the Cameroonian people, and then they do an evaluation. Has it been poorly implemented, average implemented, very well implemented, or has been done? And from then on, you can be able to assess. So what I'm telling you now, I read the indicators, and I simply give what I give based on my personal judgment. So maybe perhaps some other people have some other things to say about that.
Thank you. I'll be coming to you, Prof. Happy Sunday to all Cameroonians in happy Sunday to you all. They come. Thank you. Your message is gotten. This other one say happy Sunday to you all. Cameroonian. The Cameroonian is corrupt official. It's not clear. In Cameroon, corrupt officials appearing in court session with a glass of champagne in their hand, like Mebengo. Is this part of the emergence to 2035 violation of the law, even in court? This is coming from an anonymous sender. Emmanuel, I want us to move to the second. Though Prof has given the indicators as of which level we are, and if we are to carry out research, the variables that we need to use to test for Vision 2035, that the policies that were announced. We are moving towards the next, which is a true, strong, fair democracy. And of course, democracy can only thrive in an area where there is the rule of law, there is peace and stability and security. To this extent, therefore, how true, how strong, and how fair has Cameroon democracy been 10 years down the drain as we are clocking 13 years plus for Vision 2035?
Good question, but let me give you a quick one before I come back to the question. It's a very interesting question. When my brother Derick raised the issue of ethnic divisions in Cameroon today, like the Bulu, the Betis, the Grafis, the Kamnogos, the Dogs. You know, all these have been pampered by those who are supposed to take care of Cameroonians, because for a governor to call people dogs and they still remain a sitting dog, a sitting governor can only happen in Cameroon. That's also part of the emergence. Now, and to say that if today we have all these different groups raising different tensions in Cameroon, it's a pointer to the fact that Cameroonians have come of age. We should not only look at it from the negative point. It's a pointer to the fact that Cameroonians are thirsty. They want change. Now, since they have been stifled by the system that is in place, the tension is, manifesting itself through different ways. Like what you see, we are even talking here, we forgot what we call the anti-Sardina.
Yes, the anti-Sardina, the Sardina.
Yes. So all those are people who are good, loving, bona fide citizens of Cameroon. They want change. And there comes a time in the life of every nation when the citizens are in for change. When they want change and you don't open the door, now I am answering your question. When they want change and you don't open the door, which is what they call democracy, for them to pass through and get this change, you see what is actually obtaining in Cameroon. Talking about democracy in Cameroon, I've often said that C needs to be revisited. Why we put a Z there, so they become democracy. Because actually, nothing obtains in Cameroon like democracy. And I explained. Who was supposed to be the father of this democracy in Cameroon? Mr. Bier said it himself. I am not the author.
Let me cue you.
I want to be remembered. Oh, Tah Mai.
Let me cue you. The government and members of the regime will say we now have the Senate, we now have the regional assembly, we now have independent consulators in the northwest and southwest. They will tell you that we now have the House of Chiefs. That is full democracy.
And as a Cameroonian, what do you make of it?
How
all those things that you have named, how democratic are they? Were you not in Cameroon in 2018 when all attempts to go through a contention in the House of whether it's Constitutional Council became irreservable? Now I don't want to go to the detail. I want to continue from where I was. I was developing a point. Going by your question means that democracy could have taken us, if not very far, maybe somehow close to an emergent Cameroon by 2035. And I say no, and a very fat no again. And I explain. Look, Mr. Bier made us to understand that he shall be stenciled into the history books of this country as the author of democracy. And I want to tell you that it was just the beginning of his slogamania in Cameroon. It has lived long till today because nothing he ever said ever came to fruition. How do you explain that in a democratic country? A president gets up one day and discovers that my mandate is about to end. He tampers with the constitution because he wants to be remembered in history as the president who died as the sitting president.
No, he did not tamper. It was constitutional and people voted that.
Tah Mai Jarvis. I am not here to talk history, but if you want that we go down to history, I will go. Don't push me emotional. I am simply telling you that there is nothing that exists in the context of Cameroon like democracy. And now, to talk about
briefly, sir, the song.
We have time now, Tah Mai. We have time. Let me talk.
For 10 minutes.
My God. Now you are talking about democracy in a country where the opposition parties cannot see eyeball to eyeball with the ruling party. Given the context of Cameroon as of now, that is war in Norway, this has presented a glaring opportunity for any Cameroonian, for any goodwill and loving Cameroonian to know that we have never been in multipartism in Cameroon, because this was a period for the opposition and the ruling parties to sit together and they talk for the common well-being of Cameroonians, because politics in itself is a science to develop and better the lives of the citizens.
I'll be coming back to you.
I have the impression that you invited me today. Don't want me to.
You have been talking for more than 10 minutes. No, you have been talking for 10 minutes.
It's okay.
I'm sure after this program you will review, you will see that it's okay. Talking for 10 minutes. So, Derick, true, strong, fair democracy. Which level are we now? Are we a bit stronger than we were 10 years ago? And do we have fair democracy as we had 10 years ago? And should we be aiming to have better democracy come 13 years to come?
If I were to answer your question in 10 words, I would say we are in a very true, fair, transparent autocracy. That would be very simple. Going to that, Jarvis, when we are talking about the first point where we talk of Cameroon should be united and whatever. Yes, and there should be security.
Yes.
You realize that what has further pushed the division of Cameroon is a so-called democracy. Because in a country where you have 300 plus political parties, and we are saying that if Cameroon should have a population of 26 million, and these 26 million persons are divided equally to 300 political parties, we are saying that we have divided Cameroon into 86,000 per political party, which further divides Cameroon. Africa in general needs enlightened despot to develop Africa. We need the minds like the Paul Kagame of Rwanda, like the late
John Magufuli Pombi.
Yes, of Tanzania. We need people like that. When we talk about democracy in Cameroon, it is a window dressing where we are going to go to vote, and one political party will have a vote of 73% of the population voting him to stay on power, but he is afraid of the 27% that want to protest. That is not democracy. That is autocracy. We are talking about democracy where only one political party has a right to demonstrate in public.
Even with guns.
And the rest must be given authority and then given a position to demonstrate. That is how much the Vision 2035 has emerged in Cameroon. We are talking about democracy where patriotism has been redefined as praise singing to the present regime. Where anyone who criticizes the present regime is tagged an unpatriotic person, a terrorist. Where when somebody rises to say, I have been marginalized, I have been cheated in this fake union, in this fake marriage, the person is called a terrorist. That is a kind of democracy. That is how far we have emerged. We are talking about a democracy where the southern Cameroonians will rise in truism to ask for justice, to ask for truth, and then the gun will take the center stage. Democracy, which is a borrowed figure from the West, where they say it is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. What happened to democracy, Tah Mai, when southern Cameroonians rose to the street to say, please, this union is not going on well. Let us sit and renegotiate the terms of this union. What happened to that part of democracy that we should talk on the table and solve? The gun took the street. And that is why I'm saying that in 2035, where we think of progress, you get up to see regression. Central African crisis is hitting us very hard. You have seen the inflation rate. The Boko Haram insurgents is hitting us really deep. And I want to tell you that one of the things that is crippling this country is that the resources that would have been channeled towards industrialization, towards the creation of school, towards building of good minds, is being channeled to buy machine guns, to buy armor cars, to fight who? To fight the very human resource that are needed to build the country towards emergence. If that is not perpetual witchcraft and wrong planning, Tah Mai, tell me the next word I can use.
You can use the word that Cameroon is a democratic nation, because Minister Paul Atanganji has always been clear that it's a minister. I'm quoting a minister. What the minister said is not me, that Cameroon is a state of law.
Stop putting Cameroonians' problems, please.
Cameroon is a state of law. Ali.
Yeah, Mr. Jarvis.
You listen to some Derick, Professor Innocent, of course, Emmanuel, on this second top point which we are looking at, a true, strong, fair democracy. 10 years down the drain. You said we are 13 years to Vision 2035.
35, yeah.
How much advancement have we had in our democracy? How fair, how free is it? And the road to 13 years, how will it look like?
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis. You know, the road is still long for us to reach the final destination in which all the dreams should be fulfilled well. You know, a special thing is that if food is being given to you and you have no right to eat the way you can eat, you have no right to eat it with freedom, liberty. And the crisis that hit on the country from left to right, you know, the only person that is responsible for it. And we want to dialogue with them, but there is no way they can use weapons to fight their own population. We are trying to show them that we are not having any weapon to defend ourselves, but the righteous way is that it's the mouth that we have to discuss with them and convince them that they are in the wrong way. They have to change that way. They really need to understand us, list down what we have as problems to solve. We have so many issues that is affecting the country, especially in the private sector. Even let me just tell you something. What slows most development in this country, the high tax that is being imposed on the infant industries. Those infant industries are trying to grow up, but high taxes are being imposed on them. So they have so many issues that is affecting them, paying employees, all those things. They have so many things that affect them, but they cannot easily reach their dream that they are dreaming of to grow up. You know, especially concerning even about the increase of export. We're supposed to increase export and reduce import in this country since to promote this development. Let me come back to democracy. You know, concerning about the government, we are not free. Nothing is going on well. We need change in this country. Political parties who are not inside the DCPDM bottom, they are not free to speak the way they want to speak. They are not allowed to open up the topic that is really deep disturbing them. So if they protest anyhow or anywhere, they are being caught and jailed. So I really want to make the government to understand that since they just announced about democracy, they should give us the floor to express ourselves, and we need to collaborate with them. They are just blocking, they are just all building fence to block this collaboration that we want to collaborate with them. So that is it. And as logistician, we know, the main problem that we are facing today, the final goods are not reaching, the goods is not reaching the final destinations.
Okay.
Yeah, we know the problem, roads. So we really need to solve these problems so that we should be happy that the consumers consume those goods at the righteous time, because in some agriculturals don't have storage facilities.
Farm to market roads and storage
Yeah,
facilities.
Yeah, they don't have storage facilities.
We're coming back to
That
you.
is it. Thank you very much.
Good day to you all, panelists. What a wonderful topic there. This Vision 2035 was just a charm because there is no unity, peace, bad governance, tribalism, and so on. For the vision to be realized, there must be a change of colonial institution and inclusive dialogue. This is Julio from Yaoundé. This other one reads, it says, good afternoon to you in the studio, Mr. Jarvis. It is Joseph from Moliko. How can you explain to me that Cameroon will emerge by 2035? Meanwhile, we lack basic farm to market roads, lack of infrastructures. Civil servants still complain about shortage of their salaries, and no one is willing to explain. Every foodstuff has increased. This oral reads, it's a good afternoon, happy Sunday to you. We thank the head of state for this dream vision and good governance. Let God see them through their selfish vision. You're talking to the head of state. Cameroon is a country that thank you. Your message is read. Hello, I am Edwin. Please, we don't live on ideas. We live on what people have done. Some of you will say some of you will say I have good vision, but do you think that someone celebrate unity alone? Faith for this country is kind of not clear. Thank you very much. If you are sending us a message, please let it be clear and tell us where you are writing us from so that we can properly acknowledge you. Prof. Derick raised a very important issue about democracy, and he articulated that it is government of the people, by the people, and for the people, which means that 10 years down the drain, we should at least have a government that is better than the one we had in 2012. That will be for the people, by the people, and of the people.
I feel correct. But when you look at it, I was trying to look at the history of democracy in Cameroon. When Freddie rose up in the 90s, and he forced democracy into this nation, you saw that voters' apathy was very high. Many people were there in politics. We moved on up to the 1992 elections, and that was when things started falling apart. Today, for example, we have in place a government which is in place, but if you go by the definition which my brother gave here, it is actually very difficult to call it democracy. We do not, those variables that were actually included in that definition, we do not actually see them living in this our country today. Because when you look at the rule of law, it is totally absent. Whenever we have any little thing in this country, what we see is the army that is taking the lead. People do not participate in problem solving in their own country. We have but the rule, a kind of military rule that is in the country. And then when the military moves in, you have something else, because you have total destruction, you have war, and then a lot of setback. We don't have anything like development. So we are still looking forward to that kind of democracy. I don't know exactly when it's going to come in, whereby you have a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. For me, I want to humbly tell you that the country today is actually very far from a democratic state. Well, it is wrong to say that it is 0%, but overall evaluation I'll put as maybe 10%.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Emmanuel, a decentralized administration at the service of development. You know, 1996, decentralization was introduced, and it takes, we've realized that it was gradually announced or transformed to accelerated decentralization. That should be 26 years after. Now the Vision 2035 states that we have a decentralized administration at the service of development. How much development have we had so far as decentralization is concerned in this vision?
You would have asked that question to somebody who left maybe Lithuania yesterday and just entered Cameroon this morning. But since you are asking me who is living the realities in Cameroon, let me say it and say it well and very simple. There is no decentralization in Cameroon. The headmaster to be promoted, it comes from the presidency. I take the lowest case. And you will not, no one will make the attempt to challenge me when I say everything comes from the presidency, because we all know that our country is being ruled under high instructions. It is evident enough that if you are blind and you cannot see, at least you have ears in Cameroon, you can hear that on the high instructions of the head of states. Maybe one day we shall go to the high instruction of the leg of states. It will mean that it has left from the head to the leg, and that will be decentralization. But as of now, nothing exists in that nature. Let me just give you an example. There was what came up in Cameroon called the 3 years triennial plan. It was a phenomenon that was supposed to operate in about 11 countries in Africa. I have struggled to find out about Ghana today. Ghana is already about 64% gone. Guinea, next to our door here, is already about 50, something like 58% gone. With the youth actually involved in that sector, booming. We have, which other country again? But do you know that that of Cameroon died upon announcement? Immediately the money came to that ministry, the people look for some family entourage and maybe the immediate people of their own community, publish some names, because I can say with exactitude that in Boyo division where I come from, I have struggled to put a survey on the ground to find out how many youths benefited from that scheme. I will not pronounce names. I have 2 names from Boyo, and one of the names is linked to a certain delegate of public works. You can understand. Now, we are talking in the vein of decentralization, meaning that if we were in a decentralized country, these things would have been given to the local councils to manage.
That's true.
And at the level of the local council, where the mayor is very close to the population, he will be able to identify those who actually need to benefit this scheme, not those who need to enjoy this scheme. Because there's a difference between those who benefit and those who enjoy. Because to take money and give to a cousin of a divisional delegate, it is giving him or her money to go and enjoy. It is not giving him money, him or her money to cost benefit any program. That said, you also discover that when a country, let's come back to the topic, when a country wants to emerge, the country protects the lives of all its citizens. Because the more our numbers, the merrier we become. Now, when we're in a country where the lives of citizens have been reduced and that of a fowl is more valuable than that of a citizen, who then carries this country to emergence? When every day we get that citizens are falling. Like my brother said a while ago, I have been singing this song that there was a day I went to Boya, I saw ammo cars plentiful in the streets, more than the yellow taxis that were supposed to convey people to and from their job site. And to the best of my knowledge, there is no industry in Cameroon that fabricates AK-47s. There is no industry in Cameroon that fabricates ammo cars. Now, this money that we are using, that is exporting our own finances to import unemployment and put on us, because the money we are supposed to be using to set up or to subsidize the infant industry, like my brother said a while ago, we have missed the point. We are buying arms to fight ourselves, forgetting to know that even after this war, we shall need to sit down, restructure together before we can think about emergence. Nothing short of that can take Cameroon to emergence.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, beloved brothers. How can you talk democracy and development when one person stays in power for 40 years? This is a suffer Pekin, Sofa Pekin in Yaoundé. This one read, it says, happy Sunday to you all great brains, panelists in the studio. Thanks for always educating the masses on your platform, Mr. Jarvis. God bless you. Amen. For 2035 to come true in Cameroon, many power mongers need to leave the scene, and people of goodwill, Pan-Africans with the feelings and the spirit of the population installed in them, put in place. Warm greetings to my brother, Mr. Emmanuel Robinson from Bambalang. This is Robinson from Bambalang. Thank you very much to all those of you who are sending in your messages. Because of time, we may not be able to read all the messages. We want to catch up with time. But just to let you know that if in the course of the program we are unable to exhaust this, we may shift it for part 2 next week, Sunday. Song Derick. A decentralized administration at the service of development. 10 years down. How do you see this, and how do you see the future 30 years to come?
Jarvis, I'm sure my brother in the room, when he speaks most often, he cuts everything final. When we are talking about decentralization in Cameroon, I want to be very fair with you that it's a linguistic term. It ends at the level of language, and that is where it's going to end, because we have changed from decentralization to accelerated decentralization. Now we are at something else. Normally, most French colonies do not know anything about giving power to the people. And that is a problem that is facing Cameroon, where Yaoundé feels like, if this power has to leave Yaoundé to the people, then money we have to leave the pockets of some people in Yaoundé to benefit those people. And that is one thing that those sitting in those offices are afraid to let go. I have often quoted several times that the real thieves in Cameroon have been baptized as saints, and they are sitting in air-conditioned offices, and we are hailing them, we are worshiping them. Whereas you and I walking down the street and being caught by a military official without an ID card is in Kondengi. Real thieves are there. In the process of decentralization, like I said, it is not in the French system or the Frenchman's system to go in for accountability. Remember, before Southern Cameroons came into a union with La République du Cameroun, you had what we call PWD, Public Works Department, Kumba, Public Works Department, Bamenda, which means that if a road had to get bad in Kumba, or in any section that has to do with that the southwest region, that Public Works Department was to go operational automatically without high instruction from someone.
They were well equipped.
Which means that if a road was to get bad in Bamenda, it was to go operational. That is a system. And secondly, the Anglo-Saxon culture is a culture of accountability. Where, when you are given 100,000 francs to do a job, the moment you report that the balance is 1,000 francs, they tell you, where is the balance? You keep it, and then we start assessing what you did with 99,000 francs. But the French system is opposite. It is a system of corruption and embezzlement, where a minister is arrested in this country that you and I are, Jarvis, for alleged embezzlement of 90 billion plus.
Minister, not a minister.
Yes, I mean that one is a minister, where a minister is having 500 million in a room in his house. Is he a bank?
Maybe it's money for project now.
Jarvis, that's what
So
I'm
money for
saying.
projects that have been given to go and execute today.
Jarvis, please. When you say it's money for
That
project,
is giving that go and execute tomorrow.
Jarvis, let me take you out of that. Monies for projects are disbursed periodically.
Okay, maybe spiritual.
That is why it is
because prophet prayed. Maybe they prayed, the money appeared.
To contractors. Let's take this program very serious because we are educating Cameroonians. Listen, Cameroon is the only country where illegality has been legalized and legality made illegal. That is, the wrong things are done and they are looking so normal, whereas the abnormal things are becoming to look very normal. That is why I said the issue of decentralization may never come to limelight. It will only, we are talking about decentralization in 2022, when it was enshrined in the constitution in 1996.
Brother, I'll ask you a question, please. Do you think this country is being led by Cameroonians?
Forgive me, let me just take the no, Cameroon is not governed by Cameroonians.
No, they are governed by Cameroonians.
No, Jarvis.
Because for you to be, no. I know you are responsible. I know you are responsible, but
then allow me to develop my point.
Yes, but
because
at
the end you are implicating me more.
Okay.
Because I know that anything you say in Cameroon is implication.
Okay, briefly,
Cameroon is governed by assimilated French persons in Cameroon content.
Okay.
Because the president of Cameroon does not find it worthy to take the report of the major national monologue to Bamenda, to southern Cameroonians where the war is being fought, to report to them that this is the meeting we held and this is the decision we came and this is what we are going to do. He feels like reporting it to Macron in Paris.
Okay.
Millions of kilometers away from the 40 kilometers distance. It is better for him. Then you tell me we are controlled by Cameroonian.
Thank you.
How?
Good afternoon in the studio. How can the government be talking about decentralization and still holding power in Yaoundé? For us to emerge in 2035, we need to wipe out the whole French system, which is so corrupt. Greetings to Mr. Emmanuel. This is Ayong Nobet from Boya. This other right, he says, good afternoon to you guys in the studio, especially to my countryman, Bob Ndiwum Emmanuel. What a wonderful topic. It is only good that Cameroonians hoping on. It's only God that Cameroonians are hoping on. We live in a country that the lawmakers does not respect the laws of the land. The leaders fly to Europe for treatment. Someone will just sleep and dream of Vision 2035 and we knocking our heads today about one man's dream, which has not come to pass. The law of nature will soon act and will not talk about vision. We will celebrate action. God is keeping us. This is Prince from Limbe. Thank you very much, Prince from Limbe. This one read, it says, they are talking about democracy when weak and old people are the ones. Thank you. Message is heard. This is Elvis from Tombe. Elvis from Tombe, thank you. Your message is heard. We are almost getting out of time. I want us to get this briefly. When we look at again this vision, talked about low unemployment and underemployment rate. 10 years ago and 10 years now, the rate of employment, and how do you see it?
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis. You know, the case of employment in this country is that, first of all, we face a situation where in our university, they just teach us only some subjects that cannot make us, we cannot make use of it.
They teach us how to read and write.
Especially what can you do with law, history and geography, where they cannot train you to be an engineer, to be a doctor. These are all vital series.
No, but we need a lot to interpret.
We need, but it is not at a certain extent. We cannot just be focused on only law in the country. You just see in a university campus where students are almost up to thousands concerning this special series. It is not, how can I say, advantages for us. We want to depend on agriculture for the development of the country. So you think that with this law student, we can develop it without going to agricultural school? There's no way. You know, the dependency of, especially even in this country, the 10 regions depend 70% they depend in Douala. They depend in Douala to get their revenue. Every person that is coming out of his region, he's just going to Douala to look for a job, feed his family. The source of income is just found here in Douala. There's nothing like decentralization here. At least they're supposed to at least encourage those different regions that are having their source. Encourage them with what they have there to develop their local areas. We have even Francefa that is still slowing down our economy. We are still using this colonial currency. What are we doing with Francefa at this level, at this date, 2022? What are we doing with Francefa? And concerning even mayors, especially in my area, Ngaoundéré, that mayor is performing well. He's Bobo Saliou, that man. He's a great man. He's a nation builder. But he lacks funds to start those routes that he has already almost fulfilled the promises that he has given to us in that different area. What they slow him down, they block him because he's from the UNDP. Because he's from UNDP. They block all this finance in their own finance. The projects in their own because he's from UNDP. Democracy, you know, we will have to talk about even the crisis that hit the country since 2016 till now. We are having almost up to the 25.5% in 2019. Now we are almost up to 25.3% in 2022, which people have been, they are poor. They are poor. It is just growing up, inflation from left to right. And we have some case, especially in our hospital. Thank you for my co-panelists for underlining that. If you see some of our leaders flying to abroad to go and treat themselves, look for good hospitals, we did not arrange our bed here before we lie well. You know, our nurses that are here and doctors, they steal drugs from a patient to go and sell it to another patient who is in another room.
That's a fact.
We are suffering this issue. Why can we not try to fix security cameras in different rooms of those hospitals, at least to know what the different patients are suffering of in these different hospitals? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jarvis.
Briefly, good afternoon, sir. My regards to everyone on the platform. Vision 2035 is really not visible. We aren't ready on track. We aren't really on track as it is surrounded by so many plights. Jackson in Yaoundé. This other one reads, it says, good afternoon to you guys in the studio. Vision 2035 was a flatter that Cameroonians felt for. I congratulate Song Derick for being bold to speak the raw truth. Nice program. Is Charlie from Bamenda. This other read, it said, good afternoon to you guys in the studio. Abubakar from Fundong, what type of emerging nation that the transport minister create toll gate, change categories renewable. Says categories are renewable. Even categories are renewable every 10 years, and today 4-digit number. It's not clear. Please send us a clearer message. Thank you. Your message is gotten. We are out of time. We're supposed to end at 1:30. We have just a few minutes to go. That's about 2 minutes to round up this program. Prof, what is the way forward, briefly?
Well,
I'm sure we may be tempted to take this part 2 next week.
Yes, we were just about discussing becoming a medium-income country. We talk about
yes, that's we have not tackled that, and we have not tackled a series of others. So maybe next week we'll tackle that.
So, well, I think that what we have to do now is to have people who are more patriotic in our country, people who look forward to Cameroon, mother Cameroon. They know that it's my country. I'm working for my country. I'm not working for themselves. Until you have such leaders, this country will never go anywhere.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Of course, okay. Ali, where do we go from here? Briefly.
We still thank Mr. Jarvis and for giving us this opportunity to open the topic concerning about the Vision 2035, and we still count on the future generation to change this country. Please let us work hard and to perform well.
Thank you very much, Ali, and of course, thank you very much. And Derick, where do we go from here?
Jarvis, if we really have to go by the adage, where there is peace, there is development, then we have to start by bringing peace back home. Because if we do not bring peace back home, every other thing we're doing will be shattered. Statistics hold it, and I'm responsible for them, that in 1988, Cameroon had at least 188 state-owned enterprises. As of 2018, it reduced to 28 and only 14 active. And out of the 14 that are active, in fact, they are begging to survive. So we must boost the private industries, the private sector. Cameroon must be removed from its mentality of a salarized economy where only salaries count to a marketing economy where private individuals have to work. So we have to boost. Secondly, we have to visit the tax policies.
Okay.
Our tax system is too high, where you have 33% as company tax and up to 19.25% of value added.
Next we will look at the economy.
If we do not revisit that, what we'll be doing will not work any miracle.
Tah Mai Jarvis, the rule of justice has to prevail. And for it to prevail, no one has to be above the law. For it to prevail, we don't need to be governed by high instructions any longer. And we must provoke a point where domestic production has to overshadow importation. And if it is done so, we will give and discover the skills that are embedded and hidden in Cameroonians, and they cannot harness them because they have not been given that occasion. And to end it all, I want to remind the head of state, we are today June ending. I am one of the people who happen to have analyzed your speech in one of a sister channel, and I repeat what I said that day. Mr. President, I will take you serious when your words goes into action, not mere speeches. The criminals, they can't get. The COVID gate. The criminals are still drinking beautiful and sweet wine, still walking the corridors of freedom. We need to see you into action.
Okay. Good afternoon, Jarvis. Vision 2035 is a slogan or what? No basic necessity like water, electricity, roads. Cameroon is a big. Barrister Su writing from Thailand. I had to send some Barrister Su. If you want to be a member of our panel, you want to take part in our political debate, you can contact me on the numbers on your screen, 676-431-384. If you want to be part of us, also want to be included into our WhatsApp group, which is House of Commons, where you can be part of us, you can contact me, 676-431-384. We are open and you want to air your view. Some of you are there stating that this person is not saying the truth, this person is afraid. Please come and be part of us and speak what you think is in your mind and take responsibility for your statement. This program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. Thank you very much for coming, Doom.
It's always a pleasure.
And of course, thank you very much for coming, Derick.
Thank you very much, Jarvis, for giving us the trust, and a very special thank you to the management of Media Prime for giving us the voice to speak for the voiceless. And
of course, thank you very much, Prof, for coming. We are happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you very much, Ali. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis. Thank you to viewers, and thank you to MN Prime TV.
And of course, take greetings to the peace-loving people of Ngaoundéré. Thank you very much, all those of you who watch us. Thank you, Desmond, Akeba, the producer, and of course, all those who participated in making this program faithful. My name is Tah Mai Jarvis. I leave you with this. No matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you is that stay out of trouble. Bye-bye from Cameroon's economic capital, Feng Gudong, Bange, Koto, Unamusabi.